So, Robert, have you heard the latest news?
Oh, news all over the place. Which one are you talking about?
The one about inflation and the rate of inflation dropping to 3.1%.
Well, this is another one of those monkey business that maybe we should talk about. They always say in a debate, gentlemen or ladies, define your terms. Because unless we know what we're talking about, we can be deceived very easy by fancy talking guys.
Well, then why don't we talk about this on this episode of Real Estate Chat with
John Perez.
and Robert E. That CPI, Consumer Price Index, and the measure of inflation, the rate by which inflation is taking a bite out of your pocket, has dropped to 3.1%, nearing the government's target, I guess, or their desired target. Which all of this, what does it have to do with anything? The rates, the upcoming rate announcement in December, and our call for rate hold on the rates, but in fact, cuts on the rates might be affected by this. So, Robert, 3.1%, closer to, I guess, what the government wants inflation to be, definitely down from the 4% we've been seeing. Is that a good thing or what?
Okay, let's start at the beginning. Inflation is a measure of the change in the purchasing power of money in 1 year. Normally, it could be 10 years, it could be 10 minutes, it could be 1 year. Remember all seeing buckets of Weimar Republic marks where the guy has to take his paycheck at lunchtime so that he can buy a loaf of bread with it at 5 o'clock. The period of time is important. What we're accustomed to, and we'll stick with saying, is a year-over-year change. So we just got the results for October, and they're comparing with October of 22. Compared to what you could do with $1 Canadian in a year ago, you now can do 3.1% less in acquisitions with that same amount of money. So either the price has gone up or the purchasing value of the money has gone down. It doesn't matter, because if you have the same amount of money, then you have fewer goods by that 3.1%. Now, there's a way of monkeying with any statistics, which we've said a million times. What's included in the CPI? Now, the American CPI is different than the Canadian CPI. Canadian CPI is a bundle of goods that are compared by survey of 60,000 households. Revolving 60,000 households are telephoned every month to find out the answer. Have you ever been phoned? No. Okay, so then they put it out in a table, and it says, this is what, okay, and then they adjust it all the time. This is adjusted to 2002. That was zero. But all the numbers on there, it's very small. But the daily is a publication you get on the internet from Stats Canada, and once a month they come out with this, and then they do it again the next month on the same day. So it's very informative, but drive yourself crazy trying to keep track of it. The important thing is to know CPI is a measure of not everything, because you don't buy everything, but a measured quantity of a few things. They do include gasoline for transport. They do include fuel separately for like residential non-transportation use. They do include food. They do include a measure of housing costs, but they don't say house, because you can't say house. So they say sort of try and impute a value for the cost of ownership. So as long as they do it exactly the same way, it doesn't matter. But as long as they do it exactly the same way, you know, they're comparing half of a set of apples to half of a set of apples every time, you get a measure, and it's just an idea. So if inflation was at 8.1% on an annual change a year ago, then to have an environment where it's only changing by 3.1%, everything else remaining the same is better. However, if you look real close at this, you see one of the major components that went down is the price of gas. So can we count on the price of gas to go down 7.4% every month from now on? I don't think so. And there's two major things that are lower, that it's an average, so it brought the average down. December is not the same as June. You need different things. You know, my hydro bill was much less when I turned off the air conditioning. My gas bill was nothing during the summer because I'm not using the furnace. So each month is different. So you can't really compare it unless you try and seasonally adjust CPI, which is what they try and do, just like they try and do with real estate statistics, to make every month the same, which they're not. So You're a person in Canada and you know you're going to wear boots next month much more than you wore boots last month. And you're going to wear a jacket and you're going to use gas in a different way, all these things. So you're still getting paid. You're doing good. People who aren't getting paid, they're scratching their head saying, how am I going to make ends meet? Am I going to get some subsidy from somewhere in the business that I'm in? Am I going to get a handout from government? Am I going to scrape kiss my brother-in-law's wallet to get some money from him? What am I going to do? I don't have any money. I got to do something. People, you can't have that. So the government's job is to keep people from freaking out.
Well, part of the question too, Robert, is has the consumer spending habits really changed? Because we've got Black Friday coming up, we've got holiday seasons coming up, and typically this time of the year is when I guess consumerism spikes and spending increases. And
Yeah,
so
you're falling further malarkey. If I see a cell phone that all the rest of the year has been $1,500 and I can buy it for $750, yes, I will buy it on Black Friday, but otherwise I'm not. So that everything that's done contributes to this GDP nonsense. Even if there's a fire and the fire department goes in and we have to pay overtime to the whole department, that it contributes to an addition to GDP, even though it's a negative thing. So you got to be very, very careful. There was a fella, that short-haired ginger who does a YouTube. He's apparently in the real estate business, but he's doing something else. Did a very nice job for about an hour and a half looking at Chrystia Freeland, the complete incompetent, reading the paper and jiggling as the finance minister, and always talking in terms of numbers that didn't make any sense. He pointed out, why don't they say per person? Because we knew per person, then just because it's more, but you've increased the number of people even greater, it doesn't mean it's an increase. Per person, then we can see whether GDP is actually up. Spending per person, tax per person. And so I'm sure everybody did not spend an hour and a half watching, I wish I could remember, and Michael, somebody or others, analysis of the budget, but it was very good. So what were we talking about? CPI. So CPI did not go up as much as it did last month. Will it go up more next month? Probably. Is it anywhere near 2%? No, it's double that. Can we expect it to go down? No. If that's what happens and it doesn't go down, that means interest rates are not going to go down either, because only when CPI goes down do interest rates go down. And if interest rates don't go down, then we still have this whole mess of it costs the government more money to all the money that they borrow, public debt charges they call it. Costs you more money for variable rate on your mortgage. It's a big mess, but this is a barometer.
Takeaway for our real estate chat viewers who are watching it, because inflation rates, these are one of our most common themes on real estate chat. Make sure you click like and subscribe. Is now the time for them to ease up a bit in terms of their spending, or should we still remain prudent? And when it comes to actual real estate spending, knowing the market situation as it is right now, and in anticipation of another announcement.
There's the question. And we're going to answer that the way that we answer everything, with the 5 categories. If you're a buyer, and everybody's a buyer, if you're a first-time buyer, you got nothing to sell. But you don't like the rates, you don't like the prices. You're a last-time seller. Now you got nothing to buy, but you got something to sell, but you're waiting for a good time to sell it. If you're a trade-up buyer, you're buying something more expensive, you're doing something. And if you're trading down, you're going to buy something at a lower price, you're doing something else. If you're an investor, who if you sold, you lose money for sure. Or if you're an investor and you would make money, you're doing something else. So what everybody is going to act like right now, November, December, January, is as if it's Black Friday. You are looking for a super bargain. And if somebody is compelled to sell, they're going to offer it as a super bargain. And if there's nobody else there, you can pluck it. So you prepare in every way you possibly can to pluck a bargain. You're going to have the financing lined up. You're going to have, what are you going to do with your existing property if you're going to refinance it, if you're going to sell it, whatever it is. But get ready to pluck a bargain, because you're only looking for one. If you're going to live in it, you only need one. But you're looking for the best deal possible. So what are you going to do? Forget about interest rates. You get the seller to pay down the interest rate. You get the seller to take back a second mortgage. He doesn't want to, but if he wants to sell it bad enough, you can get him to do it, because you're the only one buying it. Nobody's buying. Wait for the bad news really to hit. Buy real estate when there's blood in the streets. It's coming. It's coming soon. Then there'll be a recovery. But look for the blood in the streets.
Kind of graphic there. Black Friday deals and blood on the streets. But anyway,
That's a famous movie, Blood on the Streets. How did you get your wealth, Mr. Famous guy? Buy real estate when there's blood on the streets, meaning wartime, when everybody's doing something else.
read between the lines. And on that note, thank you for watching this episode of Real Estate Chat. Make sure you keep on following us so that we can continue to give you some guidance in terms of how the real estate market is doing. Thanks for watching. Take care and bye for now.
See you. Happy days are here again.